You're watching MH Nation. Get the latest NBA news, transfer rumors, and match updates fast. Like, share, and subscribe to stay ahead of the game.
Bronny could reunite with his dad, and the Lakers are about to blow everything up around Luka. 4 bombshell trade stories in 24 hours. Bronny could reunite with his dad. Dallas just opened the door on 2 starters. New Orleans has the piece Luka's been begging for. And a sneaky third team could hand LA its next 20-point scorer. This is everything the Lakers front office is working on right now. Bronny James to the 76ers. The son follows the father. A proposed 3-team trade would send Bronny James to Philadelphia to reunite with LeBron and bring the Lakers a 40% career 3-point shooter in return. This is the one that's breaking hearts and breaking the internet at the same time, because we might be watching the end of Bronny James's time as a Laker, and it's happening because of his own father. Let's set the scene. The Lakers roster is currently sitting above the NBA's mandated limit, which means, whether fans like it or not, another roster move is coming. That's not speculation, that's just math. And when your roster is bloated, the front office starts looking at every single contract, including the ones with famous last names attached to them. Here's the backstory. LeBron James, the league's oldest active player and the all-time leading scorer in NBA history, informed the Lakers this offseason that he was not coming back for a 9th season in Los Angeles. That's the earthquake that set off basically every storyline we're going to cover in this video. LeBron signed with the Philadelphia 76ers, closing the book on one of the greatest runs in franchise history. And once that happened, everybody started asking the obvious question: what happens to Bronny? Here's the twist nobody saw coming. Bronny's contract for this coming season was actually guaranteed the day before his father announced he was leaving. So Bronny is technically locked in with the Lakers. But now, with LeBron in Philly, speculation is heating up that the 2 Jameses could be reunited, and the Lakers might actually have a reason to make it happen. So here's the hypothetical framework being floated. It's a 3-team trade involving the Lakers, the 76ers, and the Detroit Pistons. The Lakers would receive Duncan Robinson and 2 second-round picks coming from Detroit. The 76ers would receive Bronny James. Detroit would receive Jaden Hardy, Dalton Knecht, and a 2031 second-round pick that originally came from the Lakers. Now let's talk about why this actually makes sense for every team involved. Because this isn't just a sentimental, let's get the family back together trade. There's real basketball logic here. Start with the Lakers side. Duncan Robinson is a career 40% 3-point shooter. Let that sink in for a second. This team, as currently built, is not exactly stacked with knockdown shooters. Outside of Quentin Grimes, who was added during the team's free agency moves, the Lakers don't have a ton of proven perimeter marksmen. Robinson, last season as a starter in Detroit, averaged right around 12 points a game, and roughly 9 of those 12 points came from beyond the arc. That's an elite specialist. Put him next to a playmaker like Luka Doncic, who thrives on kicking the ball out to shooters, and you've got a match made in heaven. And here's the part that should get Lakers fans excited. Robinson isn't some guy who's never seen big moments. He's got 2 NBA Finals appearances on his resume from his run with the Miami Heat, back when Miami shocked the basketball world by blitzing through the Eastern Conference not once, but twice. This is a guy who has hit big shots on big stages. Now, for Philadelphia, this trade is about as simple as it gets emotionally. If it happens because LeBron wants his son on the same roster as him one more time. Period. That's the entire motivation on that side of the table. And for Detroit, they're picking up Duncan Robinson's roughly $16 million salary in this deal. But in exchange, they get a legitimate rotation piece in Jaden Hardy and a young shooter with upside in Dalton Knecht, plus a future second-round pick. For a team building out its depth, that's real value. Now, I need to be straight with you. As of right now, there is no evidence that the Lakers are actively shopping Bronny, and there's no confirmation the Sixers are pushing for this either. This is a hypothetical framework, not a report that a deal is close. But the fact that this idea is even being floated publicly tells you something. Teams around the league, and the media covering this front office, believe this front office is willing to be aggressive and creative this offseason. Nothing is off the table, not even a move involving the most talked-about bench player in franchise history. So here's my question for the comments section. If the Lakers could get a career 40% three-point shooter in return, would you pull the trigger on trading Bronny to reunite him with LeBron? Drop a yes or no below. I want to see this comment section go crazy on this one. Daniel Gafford and PJ Washington trade intel. An NBA insider just confirmed what Lakers fans have been hoping to hear. The Mavericks are willing to move 2 former NBA Finals starters, and one of them has serious trade buzz building around the league. This one is straight from an NBA insider's mouth, not some fan mock trade. Dallas just told the league they're willing to sell, and 2 of the names on the table are players the Lakers have wanted for months. It's August, and somehow the Lakers' offseason still has more storylines than half the league combined. Let's talk about where this front office's head is at right now, because it tells you exactly what direction they're pushing in. Look, there's been a mixed bag of reactions to the Lakers' summer. Some critics are hammering the front office for letting both LeBron James and Rui Hachimura walk out the door. Other fans are pointing at the sheer volume of depth moves the team has made and saying, this front office is working overtime. The single biggest move of the offseason so far has been landing Walker Kessler in a sign-and-trade from the Utah Jazz, a legitimate rim-protecting center who instantly upgrades the front court. But the front office isn't done. For over a month now, the Lakers have been locked in negotiations with free agent forward Jonathan Kuminga, and as of this report, the 2 sides still haven't found common ground. That's led the front office to explore other names, and 2 of those names are Daniel Gafford and PJ Washington, both coming out of Dallas. Here's where it gets real. NBA insider Jake Fisher dropped some serious intel on this. According to Fisher, the Mavericks front office, and remember, this dates back to a previous regime in Dallas, has been open to moving veterans like PJ Washington, Klay Thompson, and Daniel Gafford, but only for the right price. And that price, historically, has been a first-round pick for Gafford, with Washington carrying similar value. Fisher went further and made a really important distinction. Between the 2 big men, Gafford is the one drawing significantly more trade interest around the league right now. Washington, on the other hand, hasn't had a team actively circling him in trade talks recently, according to Fisher's reporting. Now here's an interesting wrinkle. Klay Thompson has also entered Lakers trade conversations. Thompson, a Los Angeles native, reportedly gave serious thought to signing with the Lakers back in 2024 as a free agent, but ultimately chose Dallas because he wanted to play alongside Luka Doncic and chase a 5th championship ring. If Doncic is now wearing purple and gold, does that change the calculus for a potential Thompson reunion down the road? That's a storyline to file away for later. Let's talk reality though. The Lakers currently don't have a tradable first-round pick sitting available. And even if they did, there's a real question about whether they'd want to spend it on either Gafford or Washington, despite both players having proven chemistry playing next to Doncic during their time together in Dallas. Remember, these are 2 cornerstone pieces from the Dallas team that made the 2024 NBA Finals. They know how to play with Luka. That chemistry doesn't just disappear. Here's the practical read on this. Gafford was more heavily linked to the Lakers before the Walker Kessler trade happened. Now that LA has its starting center locked in, Gafford's urgency for the Lakers probably drops. But Washington? With the Kuminga negotiations dragging on and on, Washington starts to look like a legitimate fallback plan at forward if that deal never gets done. So keep an eye on this one. If the Kuminga talks collapse entirely, don't be shocked if PJ Washington's name starts trending in Lakers trade rumors within the next couple of weeks. Herbert Jones and Carlo Matkovic from New Orleans fulfills Luka's personal wish. This one is different, because this isn't just a front office wish list. This is a player the Lakers insiders say Luka Doncic himself wants on the roster. This might be the most Luka-specific trade idea we've heard all offseason, because according to a Western Conference coach, there's one player in this deal that Doncic would, quote, absolutely love to play with. The Lakers reportedly continue to hunt for 2 very specific things this offseason: a backup big man and another defensive-minded wing to surround Luka Doncic with. And there's one trade idea circulating that checks both of those boxes in a single move, pulling from the New Orleans Pelicans. The framework. The Lakers would add all-defensive wing Herbert Jones and hybrid big man Carlo Matkovic. In exchange, the Pelicans would receive Jared Vanderbilt, Dalton Knecht, Jaden Hardy, the Lakers' 2032 first-round pick swap, and 2 future second-round picks, one from 2031 and a 2032 second-rounder that originally came over from Washington as part of the Jaden Hardy trade. Let's talk about Herbert Jones first, because this is a name Lakers fans should already know. According to multiple league insiders, New Orleans has been asking for at least 2 first-round picks for Jones, who's widely considered one of the best wing defenders in basketball. But teams keep backing off, not because of his talent, but because of his contract structure. Right now, entering this season, Jones is on a very team-friendly $14.8 million salary, which makes him attractive on paper. The catch is his extension, a 3-year, $67 million deal, kicks in starting the following season, and from there, he'll be making north of $20 million a year through the 2029-30 season. Here's the other issue holding his value down. Jones' outside shot has regressed. Back in the 2023-24 season, he shot a career-high 41% from 3. The last 2 seasons, that number has dropped to around 30% while still attempting over 4 threes a game. So you've got an elite, all-defensive caliber wing whose offensive game has taken a step back, and that combination of a growing contract and a shrinking jump shot is exactly why his trade value sits in this weird middle ground. Good enough to be valuable, shaky enough that New Orleans hasn't gotten the haul they wanted. That's the Lakers' opening to make a move. Now here's the part that should really get your attention: Karlo Matkovic. This 25-year-old stretch big has mostly played a fringe role in New Orleans since getting drafted back in 2022, only really breaking into the rotation during the 2024-25 season, when he averaged 7.7 points and 5.0 rebounds a game while knocking down about 1.6 threes. Last season, his shooting improved even further, 1.5 threes a game at a blistering 42% clip. But here's why this name matters so much to this specific trade idea. A Western Conference coach told Heavy Sports directly that Luka Doncic would absolutely love playing with Matkovic. The coach broke down exactly why. Elite athleticism around the rim, the kind of guy who can go up and finish lobs and putbacks. Strong help-side defense with the mobility to recover and contest shots at the rim. The coach did admit the three-point shot is still a work in progress, but said Matkovic clearly has the tools to keep developing it. He also pointed out that scouts who watched Matkovic play in Europe for Croatia's national team saw a young player who they expected to be a bigger contributor by now. Sometimes these things just take time to click. Now, the reality check. A separate, well-connected NBA reporter has indicated the Pelicans don't actually plan on trading Matkovic, especially after they just picked up his team option at the very start of this offseason. So this idea might be more wishful thinking than a realistic trade at this exact moment. But when you've got Luka Doncic himself reportedly wanting a player, that's the kind of thing front offices tend to pay attention to. So here's the real question for this segment. If you're the Lakers front office and Luka is literally asking for a specific player by name, how far do you push to make that happen? That's the situation New Orleans has put this front office in. Dillon Brooks' 3-team trade proposal, ceiling-raising idea. Forget Kuminga. This hypothetical 3-team blockbuster would hand the Lakers a two-way star who just put up a career year, and it wouldn't cost LA a single first-round pick. Last story, and this is the one that flew under the radar this week. A 3-team framework that could give the Lakers their 3rd star next to Luka and Austin Reeves, and it doesn't even require Jonathan Kuminga to be part of the conversation at all. For over a month, the Lakers have been trying to get a deal done with free agent forward Jonathan Kuminga. He's a former lottery pick with real upside, but he hasn't found an offer that he feels honors his market value while giving him the short-term flexibility he wants. And the longer that drags on, the more it starts to feel like Kuminga might just end up somewhere else entirely. So here's a completely different idea that's been floated, one that doesn't involve Kuminga at all. In this hypothetical, the Lakers pick up the phone with both the Phoenix Suns and the Detroit Pistons to construct a 3-team trade centered around Suns forward Dillon Brooks. Here's the framework. The Lakers would receive Dillon Brooks. In exchange, Phoenix would receive Adu Tiero, Dalton Knecht, Jake LaRavia, a 2027 second-round pick coming via Detroit, and 2 additional Lakers second-round picks from 2031 and 2032. Detroit's piece of this puzzle is simpler. They'd receive Jared Vanderbilt from the Lakers. Let's start with why the Lakers would want this. Dillon Brooks, at 30 years old, has proven over and over that wherever he lands, winning basketball follows him, from his years in Memphis to his most recent stop in Phoenix. Last season, Brooks put up a career-high 20.2 points per game while shooting right around 43% from the field. That is a legitimate two-way scoring threat, and it's exactly the kind of tough, physical wing that this Lakers roster has been missing. Kuminga has upside, nobody's denying that, but Brooks would instantly raise this team's ceiling in a way that's available right now, not 3 years down the road. So why would Phoenix even consider giving him up? Earlier this offseason, the Suns brought in Miles Bridges from the Charlotte Hornets. Bridges is 28, a high-flying athlete, and he plays basically the same position as Brooks. On paper, having both of them on the roster together is a fit that just doesn't make a ton of sense. With a younger, potentially cheaper version of Brooks already on the roster in Bridges, moving Brooks starts to look less like a sacrifice and more like addition by subtraction for Phoenix. In this trade, the Suns would shed close to $15 million in payroll, add draft compensation, and bring in real depth pieces, including 22-year-old forward Adu Tiero, who scouts believe has legitimate future star upside. And Detroit's side of this? They already run one of the stingiest defenses in basketball, and adding an elite on-ball defender like Jared Vanderbilt cost them literally nothing extra in terms of new payroll, since his contract would get absorbed into a trade exception the Pistons already have on their books. Now picture the actual Lakers lineup here for a second. Luka Doncic, Austin Reeves, Dillon Brooks, and Walker Kessler all on the floor together. That's a mix of elite half-court offense, physical two-way toughness on the wing, and legitimate rim protection. Would that lineup be enough to push the Lakers into real conference finals contention? It's at least a serious conversation. To be clear, like every trade idea in this video, this is a hypothetical scenario built for debate, not a report that talks are underway. But when you stack it up against the other 3 stories we just covered, it's easily the move that raises this team's ceiling the most without touching a single first-round pick. So there you have it, Lakers Nation. 4 completely different directions this front office could go in before training camp even opens. Bronny possibly reuniting with LeBron in Philly. 2 former Mavericks starters who already know how to play with Luka. The exact big man Doncic has been asking for by name out of New Orleans. And a 3-team blockbuster that could hand this team its 3rd star without giving up a single first-rounder. Here's what I want to know from you. Out of all 4 of these, which trade would you actually want the Lakers front office to pull the trigger on? Drop your pick in the comments below, and if you think I'm wrong about the ranking, tell me why.